Kim Jong-il was a North Korean politician who was the second supreme leader of North Korea from 1994 to 2011. He led North Korea from the 1994 death of his father Kim Il-sung, the first supreme leader, until his own death in 2011, when he was succeeded by his son, Kim Jong-un. In the early 1980s, Kim had become the heir apparent for the leadership of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and assumed important posts in the party and army organs. Kim succeeded his father and DPRK founder Kim Il-sung, following the elder Kim's death in 1994. Kim was the General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, WPK Presidium, Chairman of the National Defense Commission of North Korea and the Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, the fourth largest standing army in the world. Kim ruled North Korea as a repressive and totalitarian dictatorship. Kim assumed leadership during a period of catastrophic economic crisis amidst the dissolution of the Soviet Union, on which it was heavily dependent for trade in food and other supplies, which brought a famine. While the famine had ended by the late 1990s, food scarcity continued to be a problem throughout his tenure. Kim strengthened the role of the military by his Sun-gun policies, making the army the central organizer of civil society. Kim's rule also saw tentative economic reforms, including the opening of the Kaesong Industrial Park in 2003. In April 2009, North Korea's constitution was amended to refer to him and his successors as the Supreme Leader of the DPRK. The most common colloquial title given to Kim during his lifetime was Dear Leader, to distinguish him from his father Kim Il-sung, the Great Leader. Following Kim's failure to appear at important public events in 2008, foreign observers assumed that Kim had either fallen seriously ill or died. On December 19, 2011, the North Korean government announced that he had died 2 days earlier, whereupon his third son, Kim Jong-un, was promoted to a senior position in the ruling WPK and succeeded him. After his death, Kim was designated the Eternal General Secretary of the WPK and the Eternal Chairman of the National Defense Commission, in keeping with the tradition of establishing eternal posts for the dead members of the Kim family. North Korean media also began referring to Kim as the General, similar to his father's posthumous designation as the President. Kim Jong-il officially joined the Workers' Party of Korea in July 1961. He rose up the ranks during the 1960s and benefited greatly from the Kapsan faction incident around March 1967, which was the last credible challenge to Kim Il-sung's rule. This incident marked the first time Kim Jong-il was, at age 26, given official duties by his father, when the younger Kim took part in the investigation and purges that followed the incident. In addition, Kim Jong-il gave a speech at the plenum. It was his first as a figure of authority. Kim Jong-il's name was also mentioned in public documents, possibly for the first time, indicating that Kim Il-sung might have already planned for the younger to succeed him as leader. Only 6 months after, in an unscheduled meeting of the party, Kim Il-sung called for loyalty in the film industry that had betrayed him with an act of sincerity. Kim Jong-il himself announced that he was up to the task and thus begun his influential career in North Korean filmmaking, during which he made significant efforts to further intensify the personality cult of his father and attach himself to it. In 1973, Kim Jong-il was appointed to the WPK Central Committee. But during the early 1970s, Kim's uncle, Kim Yong-ju, was still widely believed to be Kim Il-sung's eventual successor. At that time, he held top positions in the Central People's Committee and the SPA Presidium. However, at the same time Kim Jong-il's power was growing, and a power struggle erupted. At the time, the WPK was heavily focusing ideologically on Kim Il-sung's Juche, while Kim Jong-il actively stood for this process. Kim Yong-ju, having studied in the Soviet Union, supported a more classical view of Marxism and was not fond of the extensive personality cult built around his brother. This played to Kim Jong-il's advantage. Kim Yong-ju was more and more marginalized, his key allies Kim Tae-man and Pak Yong-guk were removed, and he himself was finally attacked by Kim Il-sung. After a Central Committee plenum in February 1974, Kim Yong-ju was demoted to vice premier. And according to Kim Jong-il's official biography, the Central Committee already anointed him as successor to Kim Il-sung. It was reported that Kim had died of a suspected heart attack on December 17, 2011 at 8:30 a.m. while traveling by train to an area outside Pyongyang. He was succeeded by his youngest son Kim Jong-un, who was hailed by the Korean Central News Agency as the great successor. According to the Korean Central News Agency, during his death a fierce snowstorm paused and the sky glowed red above the sacred Mount Piktu, and the ice on a famous lake also cracked so loud that it seemed to shake the heavens and the earth. Kim's funeral took place on December 28 in Pyongyang, with a mourning period lasting until the following day. South Korea's military was immediately put on alert after the announcement, and its National Security Council convened for an emergency meeting, out of concern that political jockeying in North Korea could destabilize the region. Asian stock markets fell soon after the announcement, due to similar concerns. On January 12, 2012, North Korea called Kim the eternal leader, and announced that his body would be preserved and displayed at Pyongyang's Kumsusan Memorial Palace. Officials also announced plans to install statues, portraits, and towers to his immortality across the country. His birthday of February 16 was declared the greatest auspicious holiday of the nation, and was named the Day of the Shining Star.